Brad Bartko is 28 years old. He spent most of his life in a wheelchair due to cerebral palsy. Bartko was also born premature.
I was born 3 pounds, so I can fit in the palm of your hand. That's how small I was.
Before he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, Bartko faced some challenges right after he was born.
I spent 76 days in an incubator, fighting for my life. One fully developed lung, one not so developed. I had also some bleeding in the brain, and that stopped, thankfully. But day 77, I finally got to go home and start to develop and live my life.
It took doctors 2 years after Bartko was born to officially diagnose him with cerebral palsy. Despite the disability he faces, Bartko says that his parents never treated him any different than his siblings.
My parents did a great job of, pushing me into uncomfortable situations to make me comfortable with those situations. And talking to strangers was a normal thing for me, in the elevator or whatever.
As he grew older and wiser, so did Bartko's confidence and awareness to realize that there was one problem. It's the lack of accessibility seating at restaurants, a problem that he's faced far too often.
I was at a bar, hanging out with some friends, having a good time, and I'm paying my bill, and I have to use the bathroom. And the waitress looked at me and said, well, the only bathroom we have is down 9 stairs.
That's when Bartko decided to start up his own business called Disability Accessible by Design, a consulting agency that provides real-life feedback on the accessibility within a restaurant. Since the time Brad and his wife Jen found the agency, they've partnered up with restaurants like First Round and Hudson's. Now that Bartko has collaborated with multiple restaurants in Edmonton, he's decided to take on a new challenge by coming all the way out to Spruce Grove to collaborate with Broadway and Grand. Spruce Grove is a city where Brad grew up in. He went to high school here at Spruce Grove Composite. The lack of accessibility is something that the city recognized and were on board with when he first reached out to the local restaurant.
Accessibility was an issue on our residents' minds, so there's a lot more awareness. And we do have an aging population, and people have challenges just navigating sidewalks in the street. So we were hearing that at the doors.
Accessibility is something that Broadway and Grand knew was an important piece to have inside their establishment, not just for disabled people, but for everyone as well.
Finding out if a restaurant is accessible and you get there and it's not. It's not something people should have to go through. They should have the same accessibility as people that are able-bodied.
With Broadway and Grand now being added to Bartko's list of collaborated restaurants, it's safe to say that he's making the disabled community feel more inclusive.
When you take away the dis from disability, what do you see? The ability, right? And I want the rest of the world to see that.
Adil Ahmed, Nate Newswatch Extra.
All of us are special people.